if you have the new chapter, or you are just getting into the game, or if you are just got some empty pockets, you might be wondering what the easiest ways to make gold in Elder Scrolls are. And I'm going to lay a couple out for you that I follow to keep my bank full so that I can buy and do whatever I want, because I do a lot of builds, which means I do a lot of buying. So, for me personally, the ways I make almost all of my money are within 3 or 4 different ways. Number one, I do a lot of PvP. So if you do a lot of PvP as well, you're going to have a lot of alliance points. This is relatively new. They didn't used to have this. So whether you're a new player or an older player, you may not know about this. And it's whenever you see a battleground merchant here, there's one here in Volkelgard. I know there's one in Daggerfall. I know there's one in, I think there's one in Wayrest. Most major cities have a battleground merchant. You want to find this guy right here. It explicitly says battleground supplies merchant. And with this guy, you can buy these militant ordinator motifs, and they turn your alliance points into straight gold. Literally. As you can see, I have my Tamriel Trade Center add-on running right here. 250,000 alliance points. You can make between 260 and 320. And that's the average. So chances are you can sell it for more. And going down the line, it's all either 1-for-1 or up from there. So that is a great way to do it. But of course, all of these come with a pretty big price tag on alliance points, and you may not be that big on PvP. Well, the other way is, and I have a guide to help you navigate Imperial City, but Imperial City is nothing but gold. It is an older part of the game. There's not a lot of people that go in there, so if you're new to it, you may feel a little out of place, but it is a place where it's both PvE and PvP, where you have to kill NPC monsters to get these an in-zone currency called Telvar, and then you can use that to buy items. Like, you can buy this item right here, and it is a Hakijo. And as you can see, it sells for upwards to 80,000 a piece, and you need 5,000 Telvar each for those. And I have a guide that can show you how to farm Telvar quickly and easily, and that's a great way to make money. And if you take that and then you make it into a prismatic glyph, which here I'll show you right now. I think I have one sitting in my bank. Let's see, prismatic glyph right there. You mix it with a Kuda and one more alteration rune, which the other one's cheap, and you can sell it for 100,000 gold. That's 5,000 Telvar runes into 100,000 gold. And if you're more into gambling as well in Imperial City, there's other ways to do it. I can show you there. I explain that in depth with my video about Imperial City. But that's two of the ways that you can make money if you are into PvP. Now, let's say you're not into PvP. Let's say you don't like it. Well, another way you can make money is you find sets that are desirable, and then you go to those zones and you farm them. So, if you go to your collectibles and then the set items, it breaks sets into where they drop from. And like Mother Sorrow, this drops in Deshaun. This used to be a crazy popular set. It's still pretty popular, but it used to be immensely popular. Well, you get this stuff from the parts of the zone they drop from, and then certain parts of the zone drop it from certain things. So, if I'm not mistaken, I think the jewelry would drop from the dolmens, and the hands and the belt would drop from another part, like a public dungeon. So you would go to those zones, and then you would farm those. And then you would just take that until you get it in a desirable trait, and then you would go and you would sell it. And as you know, that's the only way you can sell things of like the set nature, because you cannot sell things from dungeons and trials. You can only trade them amongst those who were in it with you. Another big way to get some extra money is to just run around and pick up resource nodes, which, as you can see on my map, I have a resource finder which wherever I pick up a node, it will mark it on the map so that I can set out a rotation, which Kragorn, as you can see how often I'm in there, Kragorn has the possibility to drop what's called Nernhoned or Nern Crux, and then you can make Nernhoned items with it. And Nern Crux, if I'm not mistaken, I have some. Fortified, only 6 to 8,000. It's much more common, but potent, 60 to 75,000. Now that is low right now because the double resource node event just happened, but that goes up and it usually peaks around 100,000 in like one of the dead zones where there hasn't been an event for a while. So that is another great way to make money. Another big way to make money that I am a big fan of is crafting. So you would go to your crafting stations and you make your daily crafting writs, and daily crafting writs have a chance to drop master writs. And master writs, as you may be able to see here, don't mind my extremely messy bank. As you can see, these all have, like, that one's worth 20,000, that one's worth 9, that one's worth 20,000, 8, 5, 7, doesn't have a price on it, 38,000. So all of these have a monetary value, and you get these from doing your daily crafting writs, and then your daily crafting writs then in turn can either be done and then you spend the writ vouchers on things that you want or that you want to sell, or you just sell the writ itself. So that's how crafting can make you money. And then, of course, the other part of crafting, just resource node pickup, is another great way to make money. And that's a good, 5 ways that I make gold in Elder Scrolls Online to be able to fund my builds and fund just playing. And it's turning alliance points into motifs, going into Imperial City, picking up resource nodes, crafting, and farming overland sets. And those are things that anybody can do. It's not hard. In fact, Imperial City is a base game zone. You do not need Elder Scrolls Plus. You do not need any add-ons. You can just make a character, go into Imperial City. And I'll let you in on a hint. No CP or Imperial City. No CP is a much more difficult waters to traverse because you're a lot weaker because you don't have champion points. But for that reason, there is so many less people in there. I cannot tell you how often I've gone in there and it's been maybe me and a handful of people. So if you happen to have a couple of friends or guildmates or people who are dire for some money to pay for all these grimoires, get them together, get some no proc sets built, and get in there to no CP Imperial City and farm some Telvar stones. You will be the only big group in there if you can have a couple people, and you'll be running through everything. CP Imperial City, it's not that popular. It's not. But sometimes you will see a guild go in there with a full group, and you just have to avoid them. But no CP, if you're really looking to farm, that is where I like to farm. It is desolate, and it's a great time to just make as much money as you want. So yeah, those are some gold making tips. Subscribe, let me know what you think. Check out my Imperial City guide if you want to know how the intricacies and the ins and outs of farming Telvar stones. And thanks for coming by.